Buddha's father has played a key role in making him an enlightened man. Now, the story has been discussed many times. However, the key insight that a man can get from his external surroundings can be of immense knowledge in his journey. Siddhartha the Gautama, who later became a Buddha, was born in a rich, affluent Hindu family. His father was a king of the region, and he was born a prince. So the story goes that this father, when he had a child, went to a priest and asked them, "What will be the future of my child, of Siddhartha the Gautama?" And the priest faced quite some difficulties in telling the future. However, he was firm when he came back with the answer, which was that this child is either going to be a great conqueror or a great sage. Try to put yourself in the feet of Siddhartha's father. Imagine being a king who has so much in material wealth, and having just one child to keep that wealth secure for the oncoming future. It would be a blessing just knowing that his child would be a great conqueror, somebody who would expand his region, expand his wealth, be there beside him, take his side. And so when he realized that his son is either going to be a conqueror or a sage, he wanted to do everything possible to make him a conqueror. Anything that he could imagine, anything that was in his power, he wanted to use any means possible to make Siddhartha a conqueror. I cannot blame him. If I was a king, if destiny would have made me a king, made me a father who was a king, maybe as part of my ego, I would have wanted the same for my child. That's how Maya is. That's how the world traps you in such mundane things. So his father did everything possible to make him a conqueror. He got him to meet the best women in his empire. He gave him the best luxuries of life. He gave him all good that was possible to be given to a child. He was kept away from the poor. He was kept away from illness, from sickness, from death. He was kept away from anything that could provide dukh, sadness to the boy. Notice how his mind, the king's mind, is thinking. He's thinking, if I give him all of the goodness in the world, he will be trapped by goodness. And he would want to remain in goodness. right? These days, a lot of Indians, a lot of people from India are becoming immigrants and they're going to different countries for a better future, to earn more money, to earn a better livelihood. Ideally, the parents are thinking that if our children go to these countries, they will become part of that culture. They will become rich and prosperous and become foreigners. Though sometimes it does happen with the next generation of children, but the generation that goes actually realizes that all of these riches, all of these good things in life that the Western world gives us is not enough, does not provide satisfaction. When I think of Buddha's father, if only one thing he would have done differently, which is let the grass grow. Let his son live normally, a common life, be a part of the world, and just be. Then I feel he would have become a conqueror. This is where the core qualities of Buddhism come out. That instead of doing all of those things to make him a conqueror, if his father only decided to let him be a common child and not do anything, he would have become a conqueror. But because he gave him all the riches, he gave him all the good in life, he never allowed him to, in proportion, take sadness as well. One fine day in the story, when the prince went out and the prince learnt about a person being sick, a person being hungry, a person who was about to die because he was ill, all of that dukkha, the suffering, the shock, came in right away. Imagine somebody who's never lived in our world and comes from, these small tribal islands. And sometimes they don't have that vaccine. So if they come live with us, they might die very soon because they've not been exposed to sadness at all. And then once they receive it, it comes as a shock. Because suffering and dukkha came to Buddha as a shock, it became impossible for him to bear it. And therefore he got suffering. Therefore, in the entire history of the world, there hasn't been a man like Buddha. We've had people who have been close, but only because these people took the stairs that Buddha built for them. So Buddha has helped many. However, without the shock of that dukkha, it is highly possible that Siddhartha Gautama would have never become the Buddha that he became. So a huge amount of credit goes to his father. His father who actually created such circumstances that gave him a shock of suffering and pushed him to find the truth in the world, to find ultimate happiness and joy, where suffering cannot be touched. It is because of the shock that was received, which all happened because of how his father brought him up. Now, even though this was something positive, I think it's a simple and great lesson that we should let children be. We should not force them into anything because it can backlash, it can cause different things than what we expect them to do. But more or less, I am thankful to Buddha's father. That is how nature is. That's how mysterious things work, that even though he tried to make him a conqueror, he ended up making him the Buddha. Thank you for listening.